Okay, I'm gonna go dirty. I'll come back.
You know, working on a deer farm, and it's true farming, you're always going to go through different employees. There's a season in time when people can do that type of work, physically and sometimes even mentally. So Scott was one of these people we had met in the area, was looking for a new job, and we had a position that opened up.
Get a gun.
And so we invited him to come in and actually learn to be the farm manager. Scott really caught on quickly. He was energetic, one of the hardest workers I've ever met. He loves the whitetail hunt, but this job is cut into his whitetail time. So Karen and I decided what better way to treat a newer employee that's been working very hard, but to take him on a hunt down to Texas with me, and a whitetail hunt at that. This is Tanner, this is Mr. Scott.
Nice to meet you.
How are you, sir?
Nice to meet you. It's always nice to get down in December and go to Texas and hunt with Mike Straw from Savage Outdoors. You know, last year I came down and shot a beautiful 170+ inch whitetail, which is one of the biggest bucks I've ever shot. But I don't get time to hunt, so to spend those 4 or 5 days with Mike and kind of catch up to speed with the industry is enjoyable to me, and yet still the opportunity to go hunt whitetails and to potentially see some really good South Texas bucks.
Yeah, it's that hot wire. He's not going to break it. He can't.
Okay.
And he's got one around his cheek.
He goes, "Come here, you got to see this buck." He says, "We found him the other day. This buck had literally wrapped up about 100 yards of electrical fence with the fence post on his antlers."
10 with it drops it tight on his right side, which you can't see because of that bundle of stuff on it. But
Mike knows I love typicals, especially a big 8-point typical. And he had one that's probably 160-inch 8-point. So immediately when he showed me a picture of that, I'm like, that's the deer I want to go after. And he goes, "Okay, that's fine, but in the same area, don't be surprised if this buck with all of this wire on its head shows up."
The rut's gonna is just starting right now here for us. It's very, very close to a day or two. They got a cold front coming in, so that's all good.
Where Mike had us set up, we were in the ground blind, and at the other end, of course, in Texas, you have corn feeders. They go off at a certain time in the morning, certain time in the evening, deer come in. Well, the big 8 shows up. And he starts kind of eating, looking. Well, he's out of range. I mean, we've got him at the closest, maybe 80 yards, and I'm not going to shoot that with a crossbow. And he leaves. So, okay. So we asked Mike, we said, "Mike, can we move the blind halfway up the right side of this food plot area to get him within about 30, 40 yards? And it's a perfect setup. So when that deer steps out, bam, he's on him with the camera, I'm on him with the crossbow, the 10-point, gets shot off. Everything's perfect. And that doesn't happen. All of a sudden we hear some ruckus behind us. And Tanner kind of peeks around the corner, and what do we have? We have WIREHEAD. We have WIREHEAD walking in from our left. I'm trying to move my chair, I'm trying to get the crossbow set up. I finally do, I get it up, I'm gonna shoot this deer. Do you want him? I'm on him. What? I'm on him. What's that?
I think you may have broke my hand.
And I'm looked down and there's blood going everywhere.
The lamb hit me. Reload.
I ain't worried about the deer. And then Tanner just starts going, "Get a bolt in, put a bolt in, put a bolt in." He's looking up, he realizes the buck is still standing there. We're both rattled. I mean, I'm like, holy cow, how did I do that? Oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to do that.
Here, use my glove. No, I'll just use my pants. They're already covered. Can you move your hand? Yeah, it's good.
Well, immediately after the chaos, I'm more worried about Tanner. I mean, do we need to get him to a hospital? You know, by far, craziest hunt I've ever been on. That arrow's clean as a whistle. We took Tanner in, we got him all bandaged up. I think we gave him a lot of Tylenol, to be honest with you. And we actually went back out hunting. the misunderstanding that people have is that bucks just love to fight. It's like people. Most of us don't want to fight. We'll puff up and we'll go nose to nose and we'll try to intimidate a person down, but we really don't want to throw the fists. But we will if we're pressured to the point we have to. So if you find an area that has well-balanced buck to doe ratios and you have 3.5, 4.5, and 5-year-old bucks in that area, you are going to have a lot of aggressive fighting. Now rattling becomes very effective. So you really have to understand the deer density levels and the balance of buck to doe ratios and the ages to where are you rattling and how effective is it going to be. You know, the 8-point's been showing up and really didn't have a clue what happened in the morning. So again, we're set up, angled the proper way, and of course, deer doesn't come where you think he was, but he does come straight in from across. And he comes in and starts feeding. Drew the bead down on him, got him in, pulled that trigger, and when I pulled the trigger, I actually jerked. It actually went through him, ricocheted off the feeder, and the buck kind of jumped off to the side. It kind of stood there a minute, and I'm, again, trying to get another bulge in, and now I'm rattled. And I get it in and I don't get it cocked back all the way and I can't get the trigger to go off. And so I had to try to keep recocking and finally got it recocked, and of course the buck was off into the brush. And we realized that as bad a shot as I made, where I hit him just below the spine actually cut an artery. And he was actually bleeding pretty good out of it. This is the best, worst day of hunting I've ever had. We saw everything today. I'm as low in the dumps as I can get. Everything that could go wrong went wrong. But Scott shot a buck. And so we hear about that and they hadn't found it yet. So we got to go with them on the recovery, and it was so exciting to see Scott, first time ever in Texas, hunting with a bow, you know, and then getting a beautiful, beautiful South Texas buck.
Yeah. Whew. Thank goodness.
Woo! How do you feel better?
Oh, I feel so much better.
There you go.
Nice buck, man.
I'll take them.
Nice buck.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having me.
He was sweating it a
Oh,
little bit there.
man. Why isn't he bleeding? He came out. He came out the shoulder.
Good shot.
Yeah, perfect shot.
There you go, dude.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Awesome.
That was kind of an uplift for us to kind of end the hunt before we headed home.
When you were asking me why I wear snake boots, you'll know in a minute when you do that. That or a snake election bites you in the butt.
Let's say that.
One, ready? Two,
Yeah.
three.
About a week and a half later, I'd been home, wasn't paying attention, and my phone kind of went off, and wow, there's a picture, and guess what? They'd found my buck. It had expired. Uncle Randy was holding it. You know, birds and stuff had kind of gotten to it, but antlers were coming back to Michigan. They were going to find a cape for me and put it on the wall down in the basement with the other ones. Sorry we lost the meat. Glad we found the deer. I want to invite you to the first ever ConQuest 200 deer camp. This is a 3-day adventure of hunting with me, also spending time talking about the whitetail deer. What have they taught me that I can teach you to become a better hunter, how to use scents in a more efficient way, and still go out and hopefully harvest a big whitetail like this. You're gonna get a ConQuest Scents package along with clothing, scent products, 3 days, 3 nights, meals, lodging, hunting. Call in and get your deposit in today. If you enjoyed this episode, subscribe. You can also follow us on social media, and also we have a live camera out in one of our deer pens that you can watch 24/7, and we'd love to have you watch what's happening on ConQuest Deer Farm.